And again, also you'll notice tonight, I do not talk money. I'll talk some dollars and cents about certain things, but because I don't want anybody to focus on how much is this going to cost. It's, do we need the space? And then let the cost backfill into, yes, we can do it, no, we can't, we have to scale it back. But don't let the money drive what you want to do, or you're going to get another small box just like you got. So, money's off the table at this point. I'm saying building a new social hall, and some of the main benefits to that is it would be energy efficient. You would have a separate HVAC system in it, so it would be air conditioned with its own heating system. Now I'm going to tell you where I'm going to put it, and that'll fill out the rest of this list. We try to design new church buildings today, or reconstructing existing church buildings with a hub design, where you walk into one main door, and in your case you've got two because you've got split parking lots, and that's fine because they both come into the same hub, and your hub is right out here. For a visitor, there's three things that a visitor needs to see right up front, and that is when I walk in, I have to be able to see the sanctuary. I can do that, a little bit of turning, but I can do that, it's not an issue. Second thing I'm usually looking for is the restrooms. I just came from Starbucks and I'm nervous and I got to know where the restrooms are. Third thing is, where are the offices, or where can I see or talk to somebody after the service and not in the narthex or gathering space. I need to talk privately for whatever reason. And your offices are right there. So they're in good location. So I wouldn't, you've already got that hub design. What also needs to come off of that hub is all of the church activities and programs. Right now you've got 2 out of 3. You've got worship, you've got Christian ed, or your classrooms, or meetings rooms, or whatever you want to call it, or right off the hub. What are you missing? The social hall. The social hall. So I wouldn't put a new social hall, and that's why I'm not replacing the current one, because that's at the end of the wing, that wing. I wouldn't put it at the end of the Christian ed, because that's, again, at the end of a wing. The logical place is right out here by the playground, and I'll just call it the playground area. Where and how big and all that is going to be designed later. It's just location is what I'm looking at, and we're talking about a box. I don't care what you design. Just what's tonight, we're talking about boxes. The big plus with a new building, besides now the energy efficiency and all of that, is now you can actually use your social hall for fellowship after service. The other problem you have is your narthex gathering space is way too crowded. There's way too much stuff in there. I can't get everybody fits into little corners to talk because there's way too much stuff in there. So if you could move coffee hour, I'll call it, and into the new social hall, which would be right off the hub, so it's not like they're wandering out the door. All they have to do is make a quick turn. You can really design that social hall to be a couple of different designs. And I'll get to that in a minute. But that's where social hall, the social events after service would be. And that would also then start cleaning out your narthex area. Also, short term, I would somehow, I know this is going to take time to start planning and designing a new building, but in the meantime, since I'm gathering if that's where you have fellowship, I would get rid of all of the furniture you've got in there. See, that's why you're taping this, so that you can say, who is this guy? the furniture's too bulky for the size of the room. What would do best in there is a couple of cafe tables. You all know what they are. They're in Starbucks and Applebee's and all. A table with some high chairs around it. You could put 3 or 4 closer against the wall, and it would free up all that space. You could do that tomorrow. Most people today will not sit down in a regular chair. And the reason being is we're all showing the grandkids on our tablet or our vacation photos, or we're talking one-on-one. If somebody's sitting in a chair, I'm talking down to them. That's why I wanted a chair. Because if I was standing up, I'm looking down at everybody that's sitting. The nice thing is at the cafe tables is I can stand and my wife can sit and put her tablet out on the table with her cup of coffee, and we're basically at eye level with each other. My home congregation put them in about 8 months ago, and they are all taken actually before the last hymn is sung. But
I thought it was during service.
well, yeah, they go before sermon, they go out and then they come back. But people love them. And they're easy to get up on. Now there's bar height tables and there's cafe height tables. You've got to get the lower one. Otherwise the chairs are too high for people to get up on. The cafe style works great. Getting back to your new building, when you build the new social hall, you could actually, in the back portion of the new building, put all those cafe tables in that room, and that again would free up and open up. Then if you wanted to put a couple of what we call wing chairs, not couches, again with couches, love seats and so on, it's nice furniture, but once somebody gets in it, if my hips are lower than my knees, I can't get up. None of us can. That's why we all like the higher toilets too. So how you deal with your furnishings out there right now, yeah, it's fine. I would just, the furniture's overpowering the room is the best way to put it. How you deal with it, I'll leave it up to you folks. Getting back to the new building. Again, you would size it out, I would say for 180 or 200. And even if you use 10 square feet per person, that new building is 2,000 square feet. That's floor space for seating. And how we got to those numbers of 10 and 12 and 14 square feet is, I know most congregations say, oh, we can fit 300 in this space, but your chairs are back to back, nobody can walk around, and the tables are so close you can hear conversations from 4 tables over. This is, you can put a food cart between the seats. So it's enough space for comfort. So I'm looking at, let's just say 2,000 square feet of floor space. Now what you need to have is table and chair storage. And I saw you had wall storage in your current social hall. I'm talking about, I think you didn't you have a back room opposite the kitchen? Was that a more storage?
There's a storage room.
There was, okay.
But not for tables. Not for tables and chairs.
Okay.
Just
It would be,
it's a closet.
it's a closet, but it would be similar to that, where all the tables and chairs could be cleared out of the space. That would have to be added into the size of the room. Now we come to the kitchen. And since that really is driving all of this, what your strategic planning group is going to have to do is really decide on what events the congregation has, what large events has the building been used for. Again, with your current social hall being small, I'm maybe looking at worship programs where if they had the space, they would also have a luncheon after the worship. So you're going to have to kind of say, what would we have that we could use a large space like that for? Your social events. how else you would ever use the room. I have many congregations will go ahead and have their contemporary worship in the social. That's again something that's just a suggestion, an idea of how best to use the room. One thing to keep in mind is every space in your church facility has a primary and secondary use. Primary use is what was it designed for? Secondary uses adapt to that design. So if you say we're going to do social in the social hall, then it's designed to be a social hall. If you say we really could use 3 more classrooms, and we don't want to add on to the education wing, we want to just put up a wall system and divide out some of the social space, that's secondary use. You don't design it for classrooms and say, oh, we can open it up for social. You got to design it for the primary use. Now getting back to the kitchen. As you can see, I'm dodging the question. Now, the big thing with kitchens is the first question I always ask is, how are you going to use the kitchen? Again, being realistic. Remember, anything out of this room has got to be realistic. Don't tell me we want a commercial kitchen and you're cooking a turkey twice a year. It doesn't fly. Commercial kitchens. Today, you need to have stainless and with all the equipment, and most states now, you have to have a licensed person operating the kitchen, if it's a commercial kitchen. A commercial kitchen today starts at $150,000. That's a lot of meals. When my home congregation, we built a new sanctuary 10 years ago. And everybody said, we need a new kitchen and we need a larger social hall. And I said to them, what are we going to do in the kitchen? Oh, everybody's going to, bring stuff from home and we'll heat it up. And I said, you don't need a commercial kitchen. You don't need to spend that kind of money. And they said, well, we need to do something because our kitchen was just like yours. It's small and it's not real workable. We decided for that $150,000, for large events, we go off-site. For smaller events, we cater. That's it. We don't cook in the kitchen. And it works perfect. So that's my home congregation. You folks need to say what best works for us. First thing is when somebody says, I still want a commercial kitchen. Yes, we're going to make mashed potatoes and a turkey in the oven. Say, great. How many of you are going to help her? And if you get 2 hands up, it's not going to work. And then, of course, what really gets it is, now can we all count on you folks to stay and help clean up and do dishes? And everybody goes, not me, I got to go home. I got to feed the dog. The kids got to go to bed, whatever it is. All of a sudden, you got 4 people cleaning up. Commercial kitchens, that's what you're going to have. It's not machines that are going to do it all. It's going to be you folks. So what you're really looking for in a kitchen is what we call a warming, catering kitchen. And yes, you will have like 2 stoves like you currently have now, but they've got great warming units now you can buy, so you don't have these hot plates all over the countertops. And on a catering kitchen, it's usually designed in 3 sections: food prep, some kind of warming area, and cleanup. And the nice thing is, with new construction, you can design the kitchen that would work best for you folks, for what you do. And remember, we just said, the strategic team has to come up with how are we going to use that room and for what. And then you design the kitchen for your programs. Yes?
It would make a big difference that if we plan to do outreach things where we had meals for the community, say once a week or something like that.
You've got to know that. The thing is, there's a lot of congregations that are doing, and I'll call it meals on wheels. I'll just call it that. Where they're taking meals to shut-ins or whatever it might be. Most of the time, the cooking is not being done on premise. The food is usually brought in and portioned out and then taken to, you know, Aunt Millie or whoever it's going to. Again, each state's a little bit different, but you've got to watch that because now they're getting very strict on food preparation that goes off-site because you're not licensed by the health department to be doing that. So you've got to look at what programs you really want to do.